18, Inscribes, the first chapter. In this issue, we cover the topic rewiring. Before we get to discuss about this topic, pick up a white sheet of paper, use a pencil, and draw a butterfly. You get 2 minutes to do this. Your time starts now. You can add designs. You can draw it the way you want. Now stop. Keep this piece of paper with you. We'll be connecting to this exercise a little later. Let's start this issue of audiovisual on rewiring with a powerful statement. Our mother gave birth to us. Our thoughts give birth to our destiny. Our destiny is shaped by our thoughts. Now, there's good news here. If the destiny was to be shaped by our birth stars or the timing of our birth or many other factors outside our control, then we have to accept what has been given to us. But the fact that our thoughts give birth to our destiny makes us feel more comfortable now that we can change the thoughts and we can change our destiny. Now, what happens to these thoughts? Let's look at certain elements related to these thoughts. The first point we would like to discuss about thoughts is that we can willingly create our thoughts. Now, a certain group of people feel that thought come to us, negative thoughts, disturbing thoughts, whatnot, like positive thoughts, motivating thoughts. Maybe they are partly true that what we receive is information and thoughts are created by us. Go back to the drawing which you did. 2 minutes, you were able to think about a butterfly. When you want to think about a butterfly, you are able to do it. You want to think about your national flag, you will be able to. Meaning, we willingly create our thoughts. Our mother gave birth to us. Our thoughts give birth to our destiny. We can willingly create our thoughts. Rather than to succumb, to be a victim of the informations which are going around us, we can willingly create our thought. But what influences our thoughts? Information influences our thoughts very much. So then what do? We can willingly create our thoughts and we can willingly find evidence to support them. Seeking information. Look, I created a thought. As much as I create a butterfly, I create a thought of becoming rich, wealthy, successful, to own a company, to rise to the levels of the CEO of the company where I'm working, so on, so on, and so on. If I can willingly create a thought of a butterfly, I can as well create thoughts of becoming successful, becoming rich, wealthy, gaining promotions through the career. The second point is very important. We can willingly find evidence to support these thoughts. In both these statements, the key word is willingly. We're not going to allow pass through things around us, happening around us, to influence us. But here we are going to use willingness. We can willingly find evidence. For example, let's say I want to achieve the national ranking in the industry where I am. Now I start looking at the other achievers, what they've undergone. Let's say these people started off from a very small background, but they raised themselves up to the levels of national champions. Now, well, that's evidence for me. So, any lacuna, anything which we feel is stopping us from becoming that, we can find evidences around us to support the thought that in spite of these constraints, we still can achieve what we want. The evidences are umpteen and they are strewn all around us. We can willingly find evidence to support them. Now, what is the advantage of this? When we are able to gather the evidences, we influence ourselves. Oh, just like people say, somebody brainwashed me into this, somebody coerced me into this. Now, we can do it to ourselves, but in a positive way. We can create riches in our life, successes. We can accomplish what we have never done so far. We can influence ourselves. How do we do it? Evidences to what? To the thoughts. We can willingly influence ourselves. Now, what is the advantage of being influenced? Look at this. An influenced mind acts involuntarily, meaning no deliberations. It just acts. We have two types of actions, one voluntary actions, other one involuntary actions. It just happens. Spontaneously it happens. For example, a person slips and as he is falling, he searches for a grip and holds it. The mind did not start deliberating at what speed we are falling, what is the gravitational effect on this body, in what angle we'll be hitting. It just happened. And that's involuntary action. An influenced mind acts involuntary, meaning if I got influenced myself that success is my forte, so I start doing things which takes me to success without much deliberations. Involuntary do it. We keep doing it. It's effortless. And I've also seen great creations are effortlessly created by involuntary actions. This word effortlessly is is a guise. Like for example, we may be doing a lot of efforts for the great creations, but it happens in such a nice way that it seems that it just effortlessly happened. I'll give you an example. If you look at a cricketing world, a person bowling at 150 kilometers per hour speed, how much time do you think the ball will take to cross this 21 yards of the pitch? A ball traveling at 150 kilometers per hour gives 0.46 seconds to the batsman to respond. Now, where is deliberations, scope of deliberations there? He doesn't say, look, Mr. Bowler, you have to tell me what is your idea now. What are you going to bowl now? Let me take positions. No. He keeps running. The mind senses it. The brain gives alarm signals all over the body. The body adjusts itself, holds the bat in position, and smashes the ball to the boundary or to sixer or four, whatever. Look at this.
Oh, and in the air, but wide of Clark, just wide of him. It went like a rocket to the boundary.
Now, how did it happen? It appears effortlessly, but there is an influenced mind behind this. The mind has been influenced. Now, let me go back to the slide here. We can willingly create our thoughts. We can willingly find evidences to support them. By finding evidences, we influence ourselves. An influenced mind acts involuntarily. Great creations are effortlessly created by involuntary actions. There is a great artist performing a beautiful song, rendering a beautiful song. At the end of the song, you go and ask him or her, how did you sing? You say, I just sang. Now, how do you start? Or how do you give that shake in your voice? It's, I do it, that's all. They're not even able to explain how they did it. It just happens. Wasn't deliberated, it just happens. Great creations, seemingly effortless, created by involuntary actions. Therefore, let us read back this statement 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the reverse order. Great creations by involuntary actions. Influenced mind acts involuntarily. We can willingly influence ourselves. We can willingly find evidences to support them. We can willingly create our thoughts. You will find the connections. A person who is influenced, or if I may use the word brainwashed, is able to perceive things without any big efforts based on what he has already got influenced with. If the brainwash is on the negative side, let us say, influenced negatively, he is able to spot negativity all around. This is the power of an influenced mind. Now, if it is so, then can we do it willingly rather than allowing ourselves to be victims of being brainwashed around, influenced around? Yes, we can. How do we do this? You would have seen puppet shows like this. There's a puppeteer holding to the strings, moves the strings efficiently, and the puppets move to these tunes and gives us a beautiful अंजन की सीटी में मारो मनी डोले अंजन की सीटी में मारो मनी डोले चला चला रे डलेवर गाड़ी होले होल चला चला रे डलेवर गाड़ी होले होल. Let me stop this here. The puppet is lifeless. But then how did it dance? The puppeteer holds these strings, moves it effectively, and does it. This analogy is what is going to be important for us. Look at this. The brain is the puppeteer. It has strings. All the parts of the body are connected to it. The brain pulls the strings, and the body acts. These strings are called the neural network. The brain, like a puppeteer, it wants the puppets to dance, it dances. wants to make the puppet sit down, it sits. It walks, walks. Moves the jaws, moves the jaws. The puppeteer decides what to do with the puppet. The puppet exactly reflects what the pupper wants him or her to do. Now, having understood this, let's go and understand what are these neural connections, or how this nervous system is going to be useful to us to make changes in our life. The core component of the nervous system in general, and the brain in particular, is the neuron or nerve cell. They are mostly called as the brain cells. A neuron is an electrically excitable cell that processes and transmits information by electrochemical signaling. Now forget this technical definition. Just keep this in the back of the mind. But let's not pay big attention to it. But so much so, we'll understand. A puppeteer uses strings, makes the puppet dance. The brain uses neural system and see that the body moves. And whatever we achieve is because of the body movement. For example, we walk, body. We speak, the body movement. We work hard, body movement. A sculptor sculpts, body. A dancer dances, body. But like a puppet, the brain is operating it. Therefore, what are these neuroconnections all about? How does it happen? If you look at the brain, it has umpteen number of neuroconnections. They say more than 1 trillion. Picturizing it appears something like this. The nodes, neurons, the fibers hanging around like making connections with another one. Now, how is it relevant to us? It's relevant for the simple reason, for every new thought, the brain makes a new neuroconnection. For every new thought, the brain makes a new neuroconnection. Puppeteer, strings, puppet. Brain, neuroconnections, body. For every new thought, the brain makes a new neuroconnection. Advanced researchers have gone into the way the brain functions. And one of the major researchers in this area is Dr. Joe Dispenza. Let me show you a clipping made by these researchers at the helm of led by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Look at this, how the neuroconnections are formed. A new thought comes inside the neurons. Look at it, how they connect. Connection made. Watch this in slow motion. New learning taking place. What happened? Look at it. A connection is being made now. Now made. A new thought, a new connection. And this connection is governing us. If these connections are suitable to make the actions that will make us richer, successful, accomplish what we want, then yes, good. But let's say the puppeteer who is operating the puppets, the strings are not properly tied or they get entangled. Then what happens? The puppet doesn't do what he wants. Same thing is happening to us. On one side, we want to be successful, we want to be rich. But the thought we create, let's say, is exactly opposite of that. We made a neuroconnection. So instead of moving the leg, it moves the hand. Puppeteer wants to move the leg of the puppet, but the puppet's hand's moving. Wrong connections. अंजन की सीटी में मारो मनी डोले अंजन की सीटी में मारो मनी डोले चला चलन की सीटी में मारो मनी डोले चला This is happening because of the correct connections. But if the connections were not proper, it won't give you this performance. Now the question comes, if we have already wired ourselves in a wrong way, then what we can do? We can rewire them. The process of new rewiring is called neuroplasticity. Just like we do a plastic surgery to correct a blemish in the body or the appearance, we do a plastic surgery there. No, I don't mean cranial surgery, like it's something else. Like, so if we start where we were at the beginning now, we told our mother gives birth to us and our thoughts give birth to our destiny. Every thought, the brain is making a neural connection, trillions. And every time we repeat the same thought, the bond strengthens. It's very strong now. Repeating the thought. We can willingly create the thought. We can willingly find evidences to support this thought, strengthening it. Doing so, we are able to influence ourselves, and an influenced mind acts involuntarily. Now, rewiring. We now knew that every new thought creates a new neuron connection. So let's leave already the network inside, the wiring inside. Now, we don't do anything with that, but we can create a new thought, meaning we are creating a new connection, and this neural connection is going to make the body move in a specific direction, and that is towards our goal. So we're going to use this technology that every thought is creating a new neural connection. So we are going to do rewiring by creating thoughts. Now, how do we do it? God has given us a superpower called the power to imagine. You can use your imagination to accelerate your progress. Just imagine being successful, being rich, or becoming the CEO which you wanted to become of your company. Imagine achieving that $1 million round tables if you are a life insurance agent, achieving that BC Roy Memorial Award if you were to be a doctor. Imagine. Imagination is willfully thinking. We create a thought of what we want. Imagination. And as we imagine, a new neural connection happens. And as we keep creating new and new neural connections aligned to this, we are creating a wiring inside us which is going to help the body to act the way it has to reach the success we want. You have seen the relationship between persistence and success. In fact, the graph is something like this. It's not a 45-degree northeast graph. The graph is something like this. Starting small, as we keep persisting, the level of success keep rising. On the x-axis, persistence; on the y-axis, success. After a particular point, the persistence gives us the best of the results. Initially, it may not appear to have been doing that. While this is common sense, common knowledge with many people, why they don't persist? Whether it's a physical exercise, for example, they decide to do walking to reduce the weights, to keep themselves fit, or they would like to join a particular course to study, or they start reading a particular newspaper so that they can gain knowledge in that subject, in a particular subject, let's say, then why do they don't persist? Look at this. We normally keep persisting till a limitation appears or a constraint appears. For example, a person decided to walk, continues to keep on walking a week time, persistence. But now it starts raining, a limitation, a constraint. He says, okay, that's constraint. So let me leave it a couple of days and start again. Now, had he continued, in spite of the limitation, the success path would have been like this, the quantum of success. But at limitation, he quit, or he abandoned, or he let go of it even temporarily. Now, what do you think? When he starts again, the graph starts from this point? No, it starts from the 0 point again. The graph of success does not start where we left it, but much even before that. We know persistence and success are so correlated. Though, what do we do now? Whenever we get into these constraints or limitations, we'll use the power of imagination. We will imagine reaching that goal, reaching that point, having that car, having that building, having that office, having that positions, the world cheering at us, the photo flashes, the amount of publicity. Imagination. Imagination. Imagining being so important, so contributing. People around us seeking our support, advice, even autographs. And as we start imagining, we are creating a new thought. And every new thought creates a new neural connection. And as we keep repeating the old thought, the connections become stronger. And they become so strong at a point of time that we don't have to deliberate on the actions. Actions happen involuntarily. You can use your imagination to accelerate your process. The brain, like a puppeteer, uses our body to execute. The neural connections over there are operating this, like the strings attached to the puppet. If the existing wiring is good enough to make us successful, reach our targets, fine. If no, or if they are temporarily good, but when the constraints come inside our life, then we quit persistence. That means this wiring is not correct. We need to rewire. All that we need to do is use the power of imagination. Neuroplasticity is such a powerful concept which scientists have understood, researched, and found out. There's a girl called Cameron who underwent a cranial surgery and half the brain has been removed. This girl lives with half the brain. You know, the left brain controls the right side of the body and the right side of the brain controls the left side of the body. She is just 3 when she underwent the operation. But then the doctors gave extensive therapy to her. Her name is Cameron. Dr. Nancy and others from the Hopkins, they gave extensive therapy to her. After the surgery, physiotherapy assisted her, supported by the parents. Now the girl walked out of the hospital. Listen carefully. She was not helped out of the hospital. She walked out of the hospital. And this girl is now playing, writing. She excels academically. And her dream now is to become a ballerina. Come again. Ballerina. In normal circumstances, people would have given up. The parents in the interview, they say, we asked for something, but we got everything, probably much more than everything. If half brain is capable of taking over full brain functions, then imagine with a full brain what we cannot achieve. Now, the brain of Cameroon after operation started slowly learning, made new neuroconnections, and compensated for the brain which has been removed. This is called rewiring. Come, let's do this. Use the power of imagination. Do new connections, and as a puppeteer, the brain will take over and see that the body performs the way it has to reach those goals. Our mother gave birth to us. Our thoughts give birth to our destiny. We can willingly create our thoughts. We can willingly find evidence to support those thoughts. We can influence ourselves. And an influenced mind acts involuntarily, as if it has already been programmed for that. Rewiring using the concept of neuroplasticity. See you again next issue with another topic. Thanks for listening.